Look at your hands. Look at the lines on your palms, the texture of your skin, the way your fingers move without you even thinking. Who is really pulling the strings? Is it you, or are you just a biological vessel carrying the ghosts of 1,000 dead ancestors? You spend your entire life believing you are the author of your story. You think you chose your career, your partner, your favorite color, and even your deepest fears. You are delusional. You are a piece of organic hardware running a software that was coded before the first pyramid was ever built. You are living inside genetic prison, and the most terrifying part is that the bars are made of your own DNA. You are not living your life. You are merely executing a pre-installed survival script. Every time you feel that sudden sting of anxiety when a stranger looks at you, or that paralyzing fear of what they will think, that is not your soul speaking. That is a survival program from 10,000 years ago. Arthur Schopenhauer once famously noted that a man can do what he wants, but he cannot want what he wants. Your desires are not yours. They are the echoes of a prehistoric man who feared that being kicked out of the tribe meant certain death in the jaws of a predator. The predators are gone, but your DNA still trembles. You are carrying the trauma of wars you never fought, the grief of mothers you never knew, and the hunger of famines that ended centuries before you were born. You are a biological puppet dancing to the strings of a graveyard. You think you are an individual, but you are just the latest version of a very old, very tired survival machine. And this is exactly why we are building a community of 100,000 elite minds. Because you have felt the itch. You have felt that something is fundamentally broken in the human machine. You have realized that the average Joe is just a well-fed prisoner who has decorated his cell and called it a home. We are not here to entertain the masses. We are here to gather the architects. If you can feel the weight of these invisible chains, you are already being filtered out of the 99%. We are building this legion of 100,000 elite minds to ensure that, when the social grid collapses, the architects are the ones who hold the master key to the next reality. Subscribe now to secure your place in this legion. To understand the prison, you must look at the walls. Your brain is the most complex object in the known universe, yet you use it to run the most primitive applications: fear, jealousy, and conformity. Carl Jung warned us that until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Fate is the excuse of the prisoner. The elite know that fate is just a name for the genetic programming you are too lazy to overwrite. You were neuro-mapped before you could even crawl. Your religion was chosen by your geography. Your ambition was capped by your parents' failures. You are a collection of presets, a factory model human being. Your ego is just the security guard of this prison, making sure you do not wander too far from the herd. If DNA is the cage, society is the concrete poured over it. Charles Bukowski wrote that we are here to kill war, to laugh at the odds, and live our lives so well that death will tremble to take us. But society does not want you to live. It wants you to function. It wants you to be a predictable unit of consumption. From the moment you entered the school system, you were being castrated of your individuality. They did not teach you to think. They taught you to memorize and obey. They gave you a grade to measure your compliance. They gave you security to kill your sovereignty. This is what Fyodor Dostoevsky meant in The Brothers Karamazov when he wrote that man is free, but he finds nothing more unbearable than freedom. You love your prison because it tells you what to do on Monday morning. You would rather be a slave in a known world than a god in an unknown one. Think about the architecture of your brain. The limbic system, the seat of your emotions, is millions of years old. The prefrontal cortex, the part that thinks it is you, is a latecomer to the party. Every time you try to make a logical decision, your primal brain has already vetoed it based on ancient fears. You are a high-tech computer being operated by a chimpanzee. This is the biological reality of your slavery. You think you are choosing to stay in a comfortable job? No, Your amygdala is threatening you with the fear of starvation. You think you are choosing to seek social validation. No, your primitive brain is terrified of exile. You are a servant to an organ that has not had an update in 50,000 years. The cultural virus is the next layer of the prison. We live in a world of memes, not the jokes you see on your phone, but the mental parasites that jump from mind to mind. Your beliefs about money, marriage, success, and morality are not yours. They are viral loads injected into you by the media, the education system, and your peers. As the philosopher Michel Foucault observed, we are in a panopticon, a prison where the guards are invisible, and we have learned to police ourselves. You do not need a dictator to control you when you have a smartphone and a desire for likes. You are an unpaid laborer in a digital plantation, and you pay for the privilege with your attention and your sanity. Emile Cioran wrote that it is not worth the bother of killing yourself, since you always kill yourself too late. He was talking about the version of you that died the day you stopped questioning the world and started fitting in. Most people are walking corpses, animated by the electrical impulses of their primal fears. They work jobs they hate to buy things they do not need to impress people they do not like. This is the ultimate triumph of the genetic prison. It has turned your survival instinct into a consumption instinct. You are no longer a hunter, you are the prey. You are being hunted by algorithms that know your neurochemistry better than you do. How do you break the code? You start by becoming a stranger to yourself. Every time you feel an emotion, you must perform an autopsy on it. Ask yourself, is this my fear or my grandfather's fear? When you crave a certain lifestyle, ask, is this my soul's hunger or an advertisement's ghost? Jean-Paul Sartre argued that man is condemned to be free. Condemned because once you realize the door is open, you no longer have the excuse of being a victim. The elite choose the terror of the void over the comfort of the cage. They use biohacking, deep meditation, and shadow work to delete the ancestral junk mail from their psyche. They stop being a reaction and start being an action. They realize that their personality is just a series of defense mechanisms developed by a frightened child. If you are still here, listening to these words, your neural pathways are already changing. You have passed the focus filter that kills the 99%. But remember, the 1% are not gifted. They are unprogrammed. We are recruiting 100,000 elite minds because the world is entering a phase of hyper-chaos. And only those who have escaped the genetic prison will be able to navigate it. The others will be swept away by their own primal panics. Share this video with the one person who you think is real. Do not send it to the sheep. They will only use their programming to mock what they cannot understand. Like this video to signal your presence. Comment architect if the deletion of your old self has begun. Friedrich Nietzsche proclaimed that man is a rope stretched between the animal and the overman, a rope over an abyss. Most people are content to stay animals. A few are trying to walk the rope. The architects are the ones who realize there is no rope. There is only the abyss, and they have learned how to fly. As Robert Greene writes, master your options. The first option is to realize you are in a cell. The second is to walk out. The genetic prison is old. Your new identity starts the moment you stop believing the lie of your DNA. The ancestors are dead. The society is a ghost. You are the only thing that is real. Do not look for a savior. Saviors are for those who want to stay in the nursery. Look for the blueprint. Look for the code. The 1% do not pray for light. They learn to see in the dark. They understand that every limit they feel is a suggestion, not a law. Your genes are just the beginning, not the end. The 100,000 elite minds will be the ones who define the new era. They will be the ones who have shed their skins and stepped out of the shadow of their fathers. The prison doors are wide open. They have always been open. You are just too afraid to stop being a prisoner. You were afraid of the silence that comes when you stop listening to the voices of the dead. We are entering an age where biological slavery will be digitized. If you cannot control your own neurochemistry now, you will be a literal slave in the next decade. The genetic prison is evolving into a technological one. This is your last chance to uninstall the software of the masses. The 1% are already migrating their consciousness to a higher plane of strategic sovereignty. They do not react to the news, they do not react to the economy, they do not react to social pressure. They are the ones who deal the cards while everyone else is busy complaining about the hand they were dealt. They have achieved what the Stoics called ataraxia, a state of lucid, unshakable calm in the middle of a storm. Every tear you have ever shed in the dark, every time you felt like an outsider in your own family, every moment you felt that the world was a stage and you were the only one who forgot the lines, that was not a mistake. That was the prison wall pushing back. Your DNA is trying to survive in a world it was not built for, and your soul is trying to breathe in a body that feels like a stranger. The 1% understand that pain is not a bug in the system. It is the alarm clock. It is the signal that you are ready to break the code. We are gathering the 100,000 elite minds to ensure that when the system collapses, the architects are the ones holding the blueprints for the new world. The prison has no walls, only habits. The habits of thought, the habits of speech, the habits of reaction. To destroy the prison, you must destroy the habits. You must become unpredictable. You must become an anomaly in the system. When the algorithm expects you to be angry, be calm. When the society expects you to consume, create. When the DNA expects you to fear, attack. This is the only way out. This is the path of the architect. This is the end of the human animal and the beginning of something much more dangerous.